Hello.
Welcome
Hi,
back in.
Tara. Thank you.
I wanted to kind of follow up because we talked last week about um, how this appointment would be a little bit different than last week's appointment. So you remember the limits of confidentiality that we talked about?
Yeah.
So there was like a few things that I would have to report. Do you want me to go back over those, or you feel confident in those?
I think I feel good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
That was last week.
So how was your week? First of all, how was last week for you?
It was pretty good. Busy, like always. There was one time I wanted to offer up to make cake pops for a birthday party that I'm going to tomorrow, and I did not. But then I offered up my services to pick up two other kids. So I thought about it, but I obviously need a lot of work.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that's awesome that you were able to like catch that at least and like have awareness of it. Um, and so basically, I think what we're gonna do today is get a little more. We're gonna do the actual assessment today, and so I wanted to check in with you to see how that was going and see if you still felt like you needed services today.
Yes, I'm here.
You're
Showed
here.
up. I'm here.
You're here. All right. Well, thank you again so much for coming back. So I wanted to first of all let you know that this will probably take about 20 minutes. All right.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions. It'll hopefully be more conversational than like me just shooting off questions and you answering them. I want it to feel more like a conversation and less like an interrogation. Okay. And then also at any point in time, if there is a question that I ask that you're not comfortable responding to, don't feel obligated to. We can move on. Okay. All right. You good?
Yeah. And I say pass if I need.
You can say pass if you need to pass. Absolutely. All right. How are you feeling? You feeling good?
A little nervous.
All right. All right. So I know your name is Ray, right? And we know that you're in school. We know that you have a family. You're stay-at-home mom and go to school full time, right? 3 children. We know all these things. We know that we're working on boundaries, saying no to overcommitting so that you have time for yourself. Is that right? Okay. So I kind of just wanted to recap that to make sure I understood where we're going to go in this assessment. So far, do you have any questions? Okay. Okay. Awesome. I was curious. I don't feel like it's applicable, but I was. What's what is your ethnicity?
I am
Okay. All right. And is your primary language Spanish or is it English?
Pakistani language.
Okay. And then we went over the fact that you are a stay-at-home mom in full-time school, right? Awesome. Okay. And so we went over why you were here. Um, what is your current living situation?
So I live with my wife and our three kids and dog. And
Okay.
we own our home.
Okay. You own the home. Awesome. And then, as far as who you consider family, is there anybody outside of your immediate family that you consider family that you are connected with?
That's a good question. My wife's family is bigger and more supportive.
Okay.
My family, not so much. I had my nana, and she passed away. And then I would consider my best friend my family. She always knows what's going on. Sometimes she knows before my wife what's going on
Okay.
about certain just, silly girl things.
And what's your friend's name?
Tessa.
Tessa. So it sounds like Tessa's somebody that you really, really trust. So I'm glad you have that relationship with her. I don't need to ask that because you answered me already. How social are you? Do you think is like what does your social life look like? Does it include your children? Does it exclude your children? What does that
That's
look
a
like?
good question. I was definitely a little more social before I started school, and of course, before you have kids. So now my social life is school and the kids and their friends. My kids' parents, their parents.
Okay. All right. And then you were saying about how um you said your wife's family was more supportive. So those kind of like my next question is like what kind of network do you have or support system that you have that you kind of rely on right now?
Um, Definitely my friend Tessa. She lives in Oregon, so if I need something here, I call my in-laws,
Okay.
and they're both retired, and so they're always willing to come and help at any moment, very quickly. Yeah, very lucky to have them.
Yeah, that is really nice. Awesome. So I just want to do a quick check-in. How you doing? These questions okay so far?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Um, what is it look like? I know, like you said you're stay at home. What's your guys' economic situation at home look like?
So my wife does dispatch for the fires, so she's very busy, but with only one income, we can live paycheck to paycheck. So not comfortable, but not poverty, like something kind of just, I think, as you would expect from a one income household, and then me going to school, probably about what you would expect.
Okay. All right. And then as far as your housing and transportation, do you have adequate housing and transportation? I know you said you owned your home and you have adequate transportation.
Yes, we bought our home years ago,
Okay.
so we have a nice little house, and I do have a car that I can rely on to help get me and the kids safely wherever we need to go.
That's important. All right. And then you feel safe in the home.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. I am curious. So, kind of what we're gonna do now is kind of shift back into why you came in. So I just wanted to get some basic overview of like things that could be having more of an impact or less of an impact on your actual situation. So as far as the boundaries and trying to set those boundaries for yourself, do you know about if anybody in your like family history struggled with boundaries or anything like that?
I
Saying no.
don't, I think my sisters do. I think one of my sisters, we're 3 years apart, so we kind of have similar things. But as far as like family history, parents, grandparents, I don't think so.
Okay. How many sisters do you have?
I have I have 5 half sisters and 2 step sisters and a stepbrother. So a very blended family.
Okay.
We'll get into that another time.
Okay. No problem. No problem. Yeah, we do not have to dig deep in there, Ray. Don't you worry. All right.
Messy.
It gets sticky. All right. Let's see here. So, and I remember you said something about how you've had an assessment before and that you have checked in with somebody before. Was it related to this particular issue?
Not particularly.
Okay.
I've always seen Mariella through the years as things come up. I'm able to check in, but I don't think we've ever talked about this, the current issue.
Awesome. Well, awesome. I'm glad you're here. Dang it. All right. So, as far as like how you feel, these are all questions like perspective based, right? So, how are you feeling like you're functioning with what you are kind of struggling with? I know that sounds kind of like an oxymoron, right? But it's like, how are you coping with what you're presented with? So, as far as like your capacity to experience and control your emotions, with saying no and boundaries? How's that going for you, and what are you doing with that?
I'm proud of myself for being here and recognizing that this is an issue that's affecting my kids and my family, and myself. I do want to, I think going forward, being a social worker, I want to do the best that I can. So I want to learn now and get this under control about setting boundaries and saying no and not offering up my services when I don't have the time.
That makes sense. That makes sense. This is an ethical issue in social work too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds like you are very aware of what's going on, and that you just need a little like guidance on how you're gonna handle that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Physically, are you currently in good health? Do you have any medical problems or anything like that?
I am so lucky. Yeah, I enjoy running. So I did a half marathon like a couple weekends ago
How was
without a
that?
lot of training. It was so much fun. It's the one thing I do for myself,
Okay.
and I just like get on cloud nine. I just like it's just my thing. And so for being 37, I would say I am very fortunate and very lucky that I don't have any health problems.
I always wanted to half marathon. I was thinking about signing up for one. Side note.
You can do it.
Yeah.
I'll be
That's
your
really
coach.
awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
see, I'm offering up my services. I totally will help.
Oh, that's so
Coach.
sweet of you. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, so you're in pretty good health. You take care of yourself by running half marathons. Do you, tough transition here, have any history of substance abuse or alcohol abuse?
I do not. I'm very lucky. My nana raised me, and she just drank tea and nothing in her tea, and so
No
I
special
kind
Sprite.
of had, yeah, I just had a good example. My papa was an alcoholic, and so I remember being young, kind of. Now looking back, he would turn up the music really loud and go sit outside and just be like him and his music. Now looking back at that, but he didn't drink. He quit drinking many years ago. So yeah, I'm very lucky that I went through my 21 just kind of normal, and then yeah.
Okay, all right. And then as far as like history of suicide, self harm, violence, anything like that for you personally, and again, if you don't feel comfortable answering, you don't have to. It's just to kind of get a better idea.
Yeah, I would say I'm very lucky that I have not had any of those dark thoughts or my sister really struggles, and so the things that she explains to me about these dark thoughts and stuff, I definitely never experienced any of those.
And then, so we're almost done. How are you feeling so far?
But
Feeling pretty good? All right, awesome. So the last question I have for you is sort of like, what are some of the usual ways that um, you would cope with feeling like I guess one question would be, what are some ways that you would cope with or handle setting these boundaries with other folks about offering up your time or your services? And the second part would be, what do you do to cope when you have done those, when you have offered up your time? So whatever order you want to answer them.
so I tend to offer up my services, and at the time, I don't think it's too much until like the night before when I have dinner and kids to put to bed. I'm like, oh, I got to spend all night on cake pops. Why did I do that to myself?
Okay.
So it's not like I say it and then right away I'm like, oops. It's like the night before.
Okay, the night before usually.
Yeah.
And so, like, I guess I'm wondering, like, once you've, have you ever, I guess, do you ever not say no?
It's no. Yeah.
Okay.
I always think there's a way I can squeeze it in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll find a way. I'll figure out a way.
Okay.
Like, sure, I'll figure it out. So I always say yes.
Always say yes.
Yeah, so it's something I really need to work on.
And you cannot remember saying no at all.
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to spell the call. Okay. I wanna thank you so much for coming in to see me today. I think that's all the questions I have for the assessment. I really want to work with you on this, and I think that we can definitely want to reschedule again. You said you wanted to see weekly.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can definitely work out something for you to do that, and I encourage you to make sure you're taking care of yourself. Okay,
Yeah.
and when we schedule again, I'll have more for you.